Okay, and the first piece by request is AndyBetz with The Stone Cutter. The war raged for generations. Soldiers went to fight. Soldiers went to die. Matthew chiseled their names in marble solely for posterity. Metin, Matthew's son, took to his profession, wielding the tools of the trade, taking his time. He learned the art of stone cutting. He learned the consequence of the craft. When Metin reached the age of manhood, Matthew's name was called for war. This day was not unexpected. Matthew had made all the arrangements. Metin accepted his new duty. As the days became months and the months became years, few remembered Matthew by sight, fewer still by skill. Matthew became a story of days long since past. One day a messenger arrived, today with just one card of condolences. Only one name appeared on the card, written in ink in a font of preposterously curved letters. For the eulogy, Metin carved Matthew's name, as all great names should appear in capital letters, with harsh angles and straight lines. Metin's son, Mefan, wept at the service. It wasn't derived from respect for his grandfather. It was derived from knowledge of a cycle in which Metin gave Mefan his first chisel, and the time in which to become proficient. Really well done. I hope I pronounced the names correctly. I'm not sure. I think it looks Turkish to me, the Metin, Matthew. I don't know, but I tried. So regardless, it's a really good piece by Mr. Betz. Thank you for that. And let's see. The next one is by 7v7. It's called The Blank, and it's a challenge that says, the biggest hole in my life was left by whom or by what, poetry or prose, and that is by D-Tez John. I expect no less from D-Tez John. That's a great challenge. And it's 7v7 with The Blank. Clutching the heart, you say it as plain as vodka day, that the hole is big and dark, flocked, gapping black, a mouth crimson, lining, burning black, a dying sound. But no, I counter, no, looky here, slapping the paper, an infant, metaphorically the whole, as it were, strictly speaking, is off-white, a smoking gun. That's really good. I like that. The Blank. I like that line too, you say it as plain as vodka day. That's a good line. That's a really good line. As plain as vodka day. Thanks, 7v7. And this is Area Man, and it's called Heroes. My cousin, who grew up learning disabled with two alcoholic parents, his father, a retired Navy man, treated him like an indentured servant and would punish him by burning his little hands on the stove. In spite of it all, my cousin grew to be a man, and had a family of his own. Then there was Gary Plauché. Leon Gary Plauché was a man who shot his 11-year-old son's karate instructor in the head when he found out that the piece of shit had been molesting him. Then there was Robert Rule. Robert Rule was the man who forgave Gary Ridgway in open court for killing his beautiful 16-year-old daughter. Gary Ridgway would ultimately be convicted of slaying 49 women. Robert Rule was truly a vessel for God. Then there are those who get up every day and do what they have to do without hurting others and still make time to extend their loving kindness to strangers. These are my heroes. Yeah. Okay. I kind of bumbled through that, unfortunately, but I'm not going to retake it. I remember both of these, I remember this one, the airport scene when they were escorting that guy, and his dad just blew him away. And I don't think, and I remember when they tackled him, one guy was like, "Why, Gary? Why? Why the fuck do you think?" You know. I saw no crime committed with that. I mean on Plauchet's part, however you say his name, Plauchet, I forget. He did what I think, anyway. Okay. And the next one is by OrynBrun in Stream of Consciousness. It's called The Plover. And it's a challenge called Shifting Realities by Bunny. It's a $2 prize. Cool. Shifting realities. There are often worlds within words. Write about traversing them and how they change your perspective. Most gripping wins a Blarney Stone in the form of a rarely found crisp and a double-folded $2 bill. Yeah. Bunny's cool. All right. And this is The Plover by OrynBrun. Looking for a spot to be alone, he wandered north. Rocks became a dried crust of mud where trees and grasses accustomed to inundation and summer drought made their home. Bound by the shore of the river, he focused downward, not outward, determining a spot to be, just for a while. He had left work behind. No one knew he was gone. No one would miss him. This will do. A westerly wind blew through the river gorge to the plains in the east, shaking the wildflowers in a jubilant dance. He settled into a spot, the flowers becoming a quivering layer of purple and gold at eye level, stretching 100 feet. On his seat, he overheard a plover's cheep. Her dear man replied in kind upon the sand, and the human man faded from his place. On fleeting feet, she checked the sand and peered around the land for danger, and cheep called to her man. And with flowers jiggling and plovers peeping, the human man unfaded back to his place for a bit and considered the wind blowing and the sun shining. He watched the plovers and wondered why they always filled him with such a strange sadness, like a sweet red juice leaking from fruit on a tree, one that had suffered an unexpected cut and had not yet scarred, one no one would eat. A single note, no song, but a call filled with worrying love, a desperate call saying over and over again, "I don't know what I would do without you," she cheeped to her man. And he called back, "I am here, my dear, and yes, I don't know what I would ever do without you." And they each peered around for a danger, and they each peered around for danger. The human man watched their feet as they scurried and stopped, and watched their round eyes as they checked for danger, and their cheeks squeezed the juice in his heart as the flowers shook and danced faster than one could ever perceive. He felt the space he had chosen as his seat. He felt the sun and he felt the warm air. And though it blew around him, he felt it wrap him and squeeze him tight. He felt what the air was made of, exploring the surface of his skin, and explore beneath it, and explore the sadness in his heart. The delicious sadness that he never wanted to let go of. He wanted it to burst from within and run slowly to the sand, but he never wanted to let it go. He felt the heat of the sun and what it was made of. Exploring the side of his body from the south, touching the stuff he was made of and making its way in and through as he faded again. He'd taken the path of purple and gold, a blur of jubilance at eye level, and on into a cheap. One which could be considered brief, but could be ridden to the source for as long as one could stand from the plover to her man. She called, "I don't know what I would ever do without you." He called back, "Yes, my dear, I am here, and I don't know what I would ever do without you." OrynBrun. I'll be damned. I need to read more of this writer. That was beautiful. That was beautifully done. That's okay. That was really well done. What a heartwarming piece. That was heartwarming. Thank you. And this is by LDW. Quickly becoming one of my top 10 on the site. And it's called Ode to a Prizefighter. And is a challenge by D-Test John again, one of our legends on the site. It's called Slaying Monsters. Heroes need monsters to establish their heroic credentials. You need something scary to overcome. Margaret Atwood, poetry or prose. Also, it's a quote. Go back. And this is Ode to a Prizefighter. Don't panic. Don't crumble into a foggy lagoon of tears. Don't shiver under firecracker skies with his tiger roar sonic boom, or be dashed inside from night's crooked smile and vacant moon. You've got nerve, my friend. You've got gutsy punch, an electric storm fury that barrels through the razored maze and the needling briars of brutes and bastards who want to tank your ship through the greedy storehouse of their petty mutinies. So hold on to the wheel and the invisible calm, knowing that the absurdity of life is all the better for you being in it. And may your transparent heart of glass blind the dogged scoundrel and flood the malice-eyed adders, hungry to bruise your heel for the self-loathing beasts at war with themselves despite a ravine of purity, and may their towers of rabble, rousing babble, plant themselves face first into the God-smacked realities of black and blue earth. But don't write your epitaph or realign your course. You've only touched the simple depths of a universe worth alive in the kindness of your eyes and in the beautiful candor of your words. So keep sweating blood if you must, but saints preserved. Keep pushing on. Wave your diehard flag of no return, because I think you absolutely matter. To God, to us, to art, to the world, to the neighboring prisms that reflect the stellar outline of a diamond pearl that shines. That is you. So onwards, you prizefighter, and steady, to ready to deaden the calloused nerve that pinched you in its boxing cage. But break down the gates and let the world hear the resurrected songs of your valor, and make it a revolution of love, Saturn's return that dries up the frenzied scalds of hate. Now onwards, now on. That is LDW. That hit home, my man. That was beautifully written. Sometimes you just read those things that just, get you fired up, and that was one of them. Or maybe kind of relax you, or even just, make you feel like a fucking warm cup of coffee. Which to me is one of the best things on earth. Next to my little dog, Pork Chop, smelling my nose in the morning, that's like this too. And Lucy. Can't forget Lucy, my border collie. DrSemicolon says, amazing, color me godsmacked through the greedy storehouse of their petty mutinies. Yes, they prey on us, but your poem it's a revelation, yeah. And LDW says, thank you so much for your kind words. And D-Test John says, congratulations on the win. Oh, okay. Well, of course. I did not expect this to go anywhere but first place in this one. Not that, you know what I mean. It's subjective, but this was beautiful. And LDW says, this means so much. Huge thanks and continued best to you and our fellow poets. LDW, a man of honor. And this one is by DrSemicolon, and it's a challenge called The Door. Another one by D. Test John. And it says, your character wakes up in the middle of the night. They heard something. When they open their eyes, there is a door in the middle of their room. A voice says, if you open the door, it will take you anytime you wish. What adventure awaits? Is there a catch? Tell us the story, please. Tell us the story. Prose, please. What another challenge by D. Test John that completely, what a great challenge. Okay, swings both ways by DrSemicolon. Imagine my surprise when I awoke to see a door standing in the middle of my bedroom. I don't know if I heard it or dreamt it, but I heard, if you open it, you'll go anywhere and time you wish. I got out of bed and approached the door. I slowly opened it enough to see myself peeking at me from the other side. Truth be told, he probably saw himself peeking in from the other side. Where did I want to go? Where did he want to go? I realized I was in a very good place at this point in my life. I was raising 2 happy children, had earned the love of a good woman, and peace and contentment were ours. How about you? I asked him. Yeah, he agreed. I'm good too. We closed the door, and we each went back to bed. When I awoke, the door was gone. It never returned. Well done. D. Test John says, I love this. Peace and contentment definitely are signs of a very good place indeed. And DrSemicolon says, some doors should just stay closed. Yes. Yes, says D. Test John, and yes, they should. Absolutely. And, D. Test John then says, congrats on the win, DrSemicolon. So he won this one, and he wrote back, well, isn't this as great as news isn't this as great news as it is unexpected? Thanks so much for the honor and the great prompt, D. Test John. Yeah, that was a great prompt and a great win, great piece. It's funny to me to see this kind of fledging in front of me, these challenges. Speaking of which, we have a great challenge coming up. It's gonna hopefully, well, I know it will. It'll blow your doors off. So stay tuned for an announcement, and we'll go from there. It's something that we've never seen done before. So, or I haven't anyway. Maybe it's been done, but I've never seen it. So I'll speak for moi. Okay. And this one is BurialandUtopia. It's called Uncompromising. And BurialandUtopia, before I continue, is one of in my top 10 as well. It's hard to have a top 10, right? Because what mood are you in to hear which song? You know what I mean? So, but this guy has been around since the inception, pretty much, of the site. I remember reading him in 2014 when he had a different screen name. And never once have I read something by this writer that I did not like. And I'm never surprised when he's not requested. I mean, I'm never surprised when he's requested. I'm surprised when he's not requested. Every time he writes something, it's to my ear, my tongue, it's spotlight worthy. So, Uncompromising. Years ago, he dreamt of 4 streets. All of them were covered with pythons. Deja vu was such that he ended up living on the 4th street. Here he was slandered to the extent those one reads about in books are slandered, priests and saints. He remembered one of those holy books he had read. It said losing one's reputation was essential when chasing piety. What piety was, he often thought to be scarred, hated, swirled around in abyss. He kept proceeding on with life, executing life. Day to day he ran on. Pythons were there, yet he held on to his own salt. Some called him a loser, some the very definition of what a man is not supposed to be. He learnt to be a step ahead. His personal diary was published posthumously. He was eulogized as a saint. as a steadfast walker on thorns, no man is supposed to be as brave. His cathartic, nauseous day had so many triumphs, yet the salt was zoomed onto. The pythons died one by one, but by the time the streets were safe, he was no more. He manifested the pythons. They had died way, way before, but he had given in to what he thought. That this was his disease. To think of what never existed, and Johnny, even if those pythons existed, he would have focused more on gin and tonic, tulips and butterflies. Kiddo gave in to those stretched pythons, could have lived, at least tried. Yeah, that's beautiful. What can I say? Again, thank you, BurialandUtopia. That was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And the last one is by BurialandUtopia. He doubled. And it's called Bluebird. I threw a bird in the bin. She tried to fly open. Upon her first blundery burst over, I clipped her wings and banged her against the base. Tremble, she did. Bluey Ready Bird breathed her last, not much after. I said a prayer for her and buried her. Her time in the bin resonated with the ire of so many. We write obituaries of those we murdered. We wrap their stories in beautiful remorse. While they live, we never spare throwing shade over their blue and reds. While they sleep, we acknowledge their once flight. This bird is amongst the many I murdered, but this is the first obituary I write. A new low, even for me. Yeah, that's good. What a beautiful heart in this writer. And that's going to be our episode 57. Let me get out of this and go back to my mug. It's pretty cool. The sun came up as I was reading these, and it was dark out when I sat down, and here it is. So I'm going to get out of here. Before I go, I want to say thank you for being here for this long and staying with us on the channel and all your work. We've watched the site get exponentially bigger and better, and what we like about it too is that the writers on the site are attracting other great writers, and even the new blood that joins up. Wherever anybody is in their work, it's all one big family, or it's one big pit. Well, Slayer plays, and we thrash. So, if you like to read or write, go to thepros.com, read or write, inspire, be inspired. The world needs your work now more than ever. So, I'm going to get out of here, and as always, take good care.